On a cold winter morning, an elderly father sat in the warmth of the living room and picked up the phone to dial his son, who was far away. "Child, listen to me. Your mother and I have decided to get a divorce." On the other end of the line, the son's voice immediately became tense. "Dad, what are you saying? How could this happen?" The son's voice was filled with disbelief. The old man spoke calmly, but with a hint of determination. 40 years of marriage is enough. We're tired of each other. I get annoyed just seeing her face. I don't want to discuss this anymore. Go tell your sister. Before the son could say anything else, the phone was already hung up. He hurriedly contacted his sister and conveyed the shocking news. Upon hearing it, the sister was furious. "This divorce cannot happen. They can't give up so easily." Without hesitation, she called their father. "You two are not getting divorced. We'll all come back tomorrow and we'll sit down as a family to talk," she sternly instructed. "Until then, do not contact any lawyers and do not file any papers. Do you understand?" With that, she quickly hung up the phone. The old man smiled as he hung up the phone, then turned to his wife, who was sitting next to him, and said, "The plan worked. They'll both be back tomorrow." The wife also smiled, and in their eyes, there was a twinkle of affection and contentment. Tomorrow is Christmas. They'll all come back, and they've all bought their own tickets. This was all part of the elderly couple's careful planning. They simply wanted to take a break from their busy lives and gather together for a warm family Christmas. This love was both their little trick and a deep attachment to the family. In a large meat processing plant, a woman was responsible for transferring products to the cold storage for preservation. One day, while she was working in the cold room, the door suddenly closed, locking her inside. Most of the staff had already left for the day, and her cries for help echoed unanswered in the empty cold room. In this desperate situation, a security guard at the factory unexpectedly opened the door to the cold room, rescuing her just in time. Out of curiosity, she asked the security guard why he had come to her rescue, especially considering it was not part of his regular duties. The guard kindly replied that among the hundreds of people working at the factory, she was the only one who greeted him every day and said goodbye when leaving. He explained that she had greeted him warmly that morning as usual, but in the evening, he didn't hear her regular goodbye. This anomaly made him uneasy, prompting him to check the cold room. Her daily greetings made him feel valued, and her absence made him realize something might be wrong. This experience teaches us that everyday interactions and care, even a simple greeting or a goodbye, can play a significant role at critical moments. By paying a little attention to others, we not only convey warmth, but might also inadvertently save a life. An elderly carpenter decided to retire. He told his boss that he wanted to leave the construction industry to enjoy a more leisurely life with his wife and relish their time together. The boss was saddened by the departure of his excellent employee. He begged him to build one last house before he retired, as a special help. Although the carpenter agreed, his heart was no longer in his work. His craftsmanship was no longer as meticulous as before, and he chose inferior materials. He completed this final task hastily, ended up in such a way over the years it's a shame to have a career. When the house was completed, the boss came to inspect it and handed the front door keys to the carpenter, saying with a smile, "This house is a gift to you as a thank you for your years of hard work." Upon hearing this, the carpenter was both shocked and ashamed, tears blurring his vision immediately. Had he known he was building the house for himself, he would have put his heart and soul into making it perfect. Now, he can only live in this house, which has not been built satisfactorily because of his carelessness. This story teaches us that life is like building a house for ourselves. Every day's effort and every choice are foundations for our future. If we approach life carelessly, the final outcome can only be flawed. If we cultivate our lives with heart and strive for excellence, then we will harvest a strong, beautiful house.
In a tranquil village, two brothers lived with their irascible father. The father often indulged in alcohol, and under his influence, the brothers' life paths diverged sharply. The elder brother inherited his father's vices and became another drunkard in the village. The younger brother, determined to escape this fate, eventually became a respected entrepreneur. Their starkly different fates sparked curiosity among the villagers. They decided to look for answers. And so one day, the villagers collectively visited the brothers. They first found their brother, who was often drunk. That night, he got drunk again in the cold wind. The villagers helped him to a nearby bench. Once he sobered up slightly, they asked why he was so mired in alcohol. There was helplessness in my brother's eyes. Growing up under the shadow of our father, every day he either watched him get drunk or was beaten by him. In such an environment, do you think I had any other choice? Later, the villagers went to the younger brother's home. In an environment where two people are like their brothers, the younger brother's office was orderly, with shelves lined neatly with books, reflecting a disciplined life. When asked about the secret to his success, the younger brother pondered for a moment and replied, "Seeing my father's downfall, I resolved early on not to follow in his footsteps. My success is because I chose a completely different path in life. I sought dignity and achievement."
In a bustling district in the United States, there sits a luxurious restaurant where Alice works as a waitress. One day, an old man in tattered clothes entered the restaurant, immediately drawing disdainful looks. Her colleagues frowned upon the sight of this unconventional guest, believing he didn't belong in such an upscale venue. The old man seemed confused and unsure of what to do. However, Alice's response surprised everyone. With a warm smile, she approached the man, introduced herself kindly, and asked about his needs as if he were a VIP. Alice's manager came over and warned her that if the old man could not pay for his meal, the cost would be deducted from her wages. Despite this, Alice decided to take the risk and told the old man that all the food was free today as a special gift for the restaurant's 10th anniversary. After the meal, the old man gratefully shook Alice's hand, expressed gratitude for her kindness. When he left a note on the table thanking Alice for her attentive and compassionate service. Soon after, Alice was unexpectedly promoted to manager. It turned out that the seemingly unremarkable old man was actually the restaurant's owner. He had disguised himself as a beggar to test how employees would treat customers who appeared unable to afford their meals. Alice's act of kindness not only won the respect of the owner, but also led to a significant leap in her career. This story teaches us that maintaining kindness and compassion in the face of challenges, insisting on kindness and compassion, can open up unexpected opportunities.